Well, if you're not feeling more energized after that, I don't know. I don't know. A gorgeous morning to you all. Beautiful music happening. Life is good. It is good to be with you. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Buffalo. It is so good to be with you this morning. My name is Joan Montagnes. I have the honor and privilege of serving you, this congregation, as minister. We're in a Zoom worship service, and it's a webinar, which means I can't hear or see you. You can't hear or see each other. You can hear and see our worship associate this morning, Sean Doyle, and you can hear and see me. You could also chat with each other all the way through the service, as you are doing now. We also offer closed captioning if that's going to help you participate. If you find it distracting, feel free to turn it off. You just go to that CC button in your toolbar, and you can also use that CC button to increase the font if that would help you participate. I want to offer a very big thank you to Josh Disick, John Petroselli, who is our tech today, Justin DeClean, Karen Streech, who does all our visuals, Bobby Withrow, who does the play-by-play, and all our music staff who help create our worship experience every single week. Astonishing, gifted, talented people, every one. Some announcements, one from the Justice team. They want to thank everyone for your generosity. We raised $401.50 for the UUA Disaster Relief Fund, which helps repair damage to buildings, relocate people to temporary locations, and support local partner organizations after natural and human disasters. I also want to mention that the General Assembly of the Unitarian Universalist Association will meet in like the third week of June, and registration is now open. We are looking for delegates from our congregation to participate. GA is online again this year, which means it's cheap and it's cheap and it is accessible. If you would like to be a delegate, please just let me know and we will get you signed up. We have lots of slots available. And we also have scholarship funds. Great way to learn what the larger denomination is doing and also participate in shaping the direction of our faith. Next Sunday is Memorial Day Sunday, and we're going to be celebrating the lives of our beloved dead. We would love to include your beloved dead into that ceremony and with a slideshow. And if you would like to include photos of your loved ones, please send slides, an electronic photo, and the name of your loved one to Karen Streech by this Tuesday. And if you have 2, 3, 4 people you'd like remembered, 5, just send them all in because we'd love to have really a nice showing of all of the folks who we are missing. Next Saturday, from 10 to 12 p.m., we're going to hold a relational covenant, all congregation Zoom event. Last, whatever it was, I don't know, it was earlier in the year, we gave you a first draft of the relational covenant, and you gave us back a bunch of feedback, and we took it very seriously and basically scrapped the whole process and started again and created something very new. We want to bounce that off you. So next Saturday from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m., we're going to have this workshop, do a presentation for you, and then break into small groups to imagine the promises we can make to one another to hold our church community in healthy relationship. We would love your participation in that. It really won't be a congregational covenant unless you're part of the process. The Zoom address for that is in the chat, in the newsletter, and in the e-blast. And if you still can't find it, just call me or email me. Vespers, I want to remind you that Vespers are held every Friday night at 7 p.m. Come for community, music, candlelight, poetry, and meditation. This week, our musician is Kevin Doyle playing the piano. And finally, I want to remind you at the end of this worship service, we will hold another meeting, a Zoom fellowship time where you can hear and see each other and exchange all sorts of news and gossip. And the Zoom address for that is in the chat, in the newsletter, in the e-blast, and on the last slide of this worship service. That is so much announcing, I know. So come, let us do what we came here for. Let's begin to worship.
Once upon a time, some years ago, you ventured forth out of tiny, confined comfort. You passed through the front door, bid farewell to the flowering garden, latched the gate behind you, and set out on an adventure to seek your fortune. You will not risk this adventure alone, for heroes of all time have taken this journey before you. The story is thoroughly known. The path takes unexpected twists and turns into a world of wonder. Where we expect evil, we will find the sacred. Where we expect to slay monsters, we will slay ourselves. Where we expect to travel outwards, we will come to the center of our own existence. And when we think we are most alone, we shall be with all the world. Come, let us worship.
In the Unitarian Universalist faith, we set aside time as sacred by lighting a chalice. Maybe you have a chalice at home and you'd like to light your chalice as well. Let's join in saying our chalice lighting affirmation together. We gather in loving community, inspiring one another to transform ourselves to create a more just and compassionate world. And now let's join in singing Gathered Here.
Gathered here in the mystery of the hour, gathered here in one strong body, gathered here in the struggle and the power, Spirit draw near.
Gathered here in the mystery of the hour,
Gathered here in the mystery of the hour, gathered here in the mystery of the hour, gathered here in the struggle and the body, gathered here in the mystery of the hour, gathered here in the mystery of the hour, gathered here in the mystery of the hour, gathered here in the struggle and the body, Spirit draw near.
Once upon a time, a long time ago, my dad sent me to the corner store with $2 to buy a jug of milk for breakfast. Well, on the way, I met a woman all dressed in rainbow ribbons and gauze. She had wings strapped to her back and was blowing bubbles. "You little girl," she called to me, "I have a surprise for you. I am your fairy godmother, and I suspect you have something for me." "I don't know," says I. "All I've got is $2 that my dad gave me to buy a jug of milk for breakfast." "That will do," she said, "and in return I will give you this pumpkin and 6 little mice. They may come in handy if you ever find yourself without a coach." to a royal ball. And with that, my fairy godmother disappeared, and I was left with the pumpkin and the mice. Well, I didn't know what to do next. So I just continued on my journey to the corner store. And on the way, I met an old man in a dark hooded cape. He was hunched over and held a tall wooden staff. Little girl, I think you have something for me. I don't know, says I. All I've got is this pumpkin and 6 mice that I got in return for the $2 that my dad gave me to buy a jug of milk for breakfast. That will do, he said. And in return, I'll give you these 5 beans. They may come in handy if you ever want a goose that lays golden eggs. And with a flourish of his cape, the man disappeared, and I was left with 5 beans in my hand. I didn't know what to do next. So I just continued on my journey to the corner store, and on the way, I saw a shiny lamp sitting on the sidewalk. I picked up the lamp, gave it a rub, and out of the lamp floated an enormous genie as big as a house. You there, little human person, bellowed the genie. I think you have something I need. I don't know, says I. All I've got is these 5 beans that I got in return for a pumpkin and 6 mice that I got in return for the $2 my dad gave me to buy a jug of milk for breakfast. That will do, said the genie. And in return, I'll give you this flying carpet. It may come in handy if you ever want to travel in style. And with a poof, the genie disappeared, the lamp disappeared, and I was left with the carpet rolled up in front of me. It was then I realized that I still hadn't got to the corner store, and I began to get very worried that I wouldn't have any milk to bring home for breakfast. Oh no, says I. I'm in big trouble now. I didn't know what to do next, so I just continued on my journey to the corner store. And on the way, I met a milkmaid who happened to be walking her big brown cow down the street. She stopped in front of me and said, "A carpet! How delightful! Would you be willing to trade it for a jug of milk?" And so I gave the milkmaid the flying carpet that I'd got in return for the 5 beans that I'd got in return for the pumpkin and the 6 mice that I'd got in return for the $2 that my dad gave me to buy a jug of milk for breakfast. I brought the jug of milk home, and Dad, my fairy godmother, the hooded man, the genie, the milkmaid, and I all lived happily ever after.
Every week, we take a good portion of our Sunday morning offering and give it away to a social justice cause outside our church walls. This month, we are supporting the good work of Literacy Buffalo Niagara. Literacy Buffalo Niagara helps our community with literacy skills by providing free tutoring in Erie and Niagara counties. You can use PayPal by going to our website, www.buffalouu.org, and clicking on the blue Donate button. Or you can send a check by mail to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Buffalo, 695 Elmwood Avenue, Buffalo, New York, 14222. You can also arrange a regular automatic deposit with your bank. If yours is a gift to our Share the Plate ministry, please write share on the memo line, and it will be shared between the Literacy Buffalo Niagara and the church operating budgets. If yours is a welcome gift to our congregation, please write Pledge 2021 on the memo line. Either way, please write UUCB on the important line and we will do the bookkeeping. Your generosity can begin to tell the story we've all been hoping to hear.
I'm Hans Christian Andersen, I've many a tale to tell, and though I'm a cobbler, I'd say I tell them rather well. I'll mend your shoes and I'll fix your boots when I have a moment free, when I'm not otherwise occupied as a purple duck or a mountainside or a quarter after 3. I'm Hans Christian Andersen, that's me. I'm Hans Christian Andersen, I bring you a fable rare. There once was a table who said, oh how I'd love a chair. And then and there came a sweet young chair, all dressed in a bridal gown. He said to her in a voice so true, now I did not say that I'd marry you, but I would like to sit down. I'm Hans Christian Andersen, Andersen's in town. Write myself a note each day and I place it in my hat. The wind comes by, the hat blows high, but that's not the end of that. For round and round the world it goes, it lands here right behind myself. I pick it up and I read the note, which is merely to remind myself. I'm Hans Christian Andersen, my pen's like a babbling brook. Permit me to show you, dear sir, my very latest book. Now here's a tale of a simple fool, just glance at a page or two. You laugh, ha ha, but you blush a bit, for you realize while you're reading it that it's also reading you. I'm Hans Christian Andersen, Andersen, that's who. I'm Hans Christian Andersen, this glorious month of May. It's full of the magic I need to speed me on my way. My pocketbook has an empty look, I limp on a lumpy shoe. Or if I wish I'm a flying fish, or a millionaire with a rocking chair, or a dumpling in my stew. I'm Hans Christian Andersen. How do?
Today's first reading is Fairy Tale by Theodora Gross. You ask, where will you find her? Beside the singing fountains where the orange trees are blossoming and perfuming the air, where the night is like an orchard with orange blossoms shining and the spirit of the fountains unbinds her wild blue hair. Ask courage of the crimson bird and follow where it tells you, the talking bird that maps the long brown road to heart's desire. Pass by the groaning forest and boars that speak in parables, and stop your ears as you approach the taunting realms of fire. When you have reached the final citadel, you'll find the trousers that give a man a league at step, the cither that is wise enough to know how you can open all the cut glass doorways. Release the cat that smiles and blinks its dreaming amber eyes. Then, after chasm and abyss, and after crystal mountains that dazzle and confuse the mind like vertical green seas, you'll come at last beneath the trees of fragrant orange orchards, where the princess, in the singing fountains, bathes her soft white knees.
Once upon a time, in the Armenian quarter of Tabriz, in the land of Iran, there was a young orphan named Vartan Gregorian. He had a wicked stepmother who made his home life so unbearable. that at the age of 15, Vartan ran off to seek his fortune. A teacher took pity on the boy and gave him a magic letter, which opened the door to a school in Beirut. And after heroically slaying the dragons of high school, Vartan was rewarded with a magnificent treasure, a scholarship to Stanford University in the Greater Duchy of California in the mighty realm of the US of A. But the adventure wasn't over yet. After landing in New York without a penny to his name, Vartan looked inside the envelope which held his golden plane ticket to San Francisco, and the envelope was empty. His precious passage to success was gone. His future hung perilously in the balance. With fear and trepidation, and in faltering English, he approached the airline's customer service desk and poured out the tale of his desperate plight to the ticket agent. The agent mumbled something about regulations and then said in hushed tones, "I have never done what I'm about to do." The agent stamped the man's empty ticket envelope and told him to stay on the plane. Do not get off. No matter how tempted you may be, do not get off the plane until you reach your destination. Vartan made his way to Stanford, graduated with tons of degrees, had several more adventures, conquered many more seemingly insurmountable obstacles, and accumulated more treasure than any of us could possibly imagine. And then one fateful day, he discovered that the New York City public library system was on the budgetary chopping block. The library had become the much fabled lion caught in the hunter's net. Would a little Armenian mouse come to chew the ropes and save the library's lion from the hunter's knife? Yes, our hero, Vartan Gregorian, summoned all his courage and all his accumulated treasure, and after many battles, he saved the day. And today, the library lions in New York City continue to roar healthy, loud, and proud outside one of the largest library systems in the world, inspiring lifelong learning, advancing knowledge, and strengthening community. This is a true rags to riches story of how an orphan saved the day. And I tell it to you this Sunday morning to lift up the role of our hero in our once upon a time. But perhaps more importantly, I want to lift up the role of his magical friends, the teacher, the scholarship committee, the ticket agent, the librarians. It wasn't just Vartan who saved the library, it was all the characters in the story. Every hero of every fairy tale is assisted by magical friends. The talking bird, the wild boar who speaks in parables, the trousers that give a man a league at a step, the ruby slippers, the fairy godmother, the cloaked man, the genie, the milkmaid. You all make the story happen. Sometimes our existence can seem puny and insignificant, or worse, a hopeless stream of mistakes and regrets. Most of us won't have our lives memorialized with fanfare. We don't feel like heroes of any once upon a time. We don't feel like saviors or liberators. But never doubt that you are a crucial player in the story. And any path you gaze at with wonder will drag you into its quest for good, whether you like it or not.
Today's second reading is For the Traveler by John O'Donohue. Every time you leave home, another road takes you into a world you were never in. New strangers on other paths await. New places that have never seen you will startle a little at your entry. Old places that know you well will pretend nothing changed since your last visit. When you travel, you find yourself alone in a different way, more attentive now to the self you bring along. Your more subtle eye watching you abroad, and how what meets you touches that part of the heart that lies low at home. How do you unexpectedly attune to the timbre in some voice opening in conversation you want to take in, to where your longing has pressed hard enough inward on some unsaid dark to create a crystal of insight you could not have known you needed to illuminate your way? When you travel, a new silence goes with you, and if you listen, you will hear what your heart would love to say. A journey can become a sacred thing. Make sure before you go to take the time to bless your going forth, to free your heart of ballast so that the compass of your soul might direct you toward the territories of spirit where you will discover more of your hidden life and the urgencies that deserve to claim you. May you travel in an awakened way, gathered wisely into your inner ground, that you may not waste the invitations which wait along the way to transform you. May you travel safely, arrive refreshed, and live your time away to its fullest. Return home more enriched and free to balance the gift of days which call you.
Let's join our hearts and minds in a quiet moment of prayer, reflection, and meditation. Dear ones, from the busyness of every day, we gather to remember who we are, to dream of who we might become. We gather companions on a journey, sharing milestones along the way, moments of joy and sorrow, comfort and celebration. This morning, as we continue on our journey, let us hold close our fellow travelers, the burdens they carry, the songs that inspire their hearts. We travel this road together in beloved community, pilgrims who share a common path. And now let us open our worship space to the names of all our loved ones suffering in sorrow and celebrating in joy, each name a breath, each breath a prayer. The breath of nature is upon us. The spirit of life is among us. The community of love is among us. So be it. Blessed be. And let the church say, Amen.
Our final reading today is The Return by Janine Marie Hagen. Someday, if you are lucky, you'll return from a thunderous journey trailing snake scales, wing fragments, and the musk of earth and moon. Eyes will examine you for signs of damage or change, and you too will wonder if your skin shows traces of fur or leaves, if it thrushes have built a nest of your hair, if Andromeda burns from your eyes. Do not be surprised by prickly questions from those who barely inhabit their own fleeting lives, who barely taste their own possibility, who barely dream. If your hands are empty, treasureless, if your toes have not grown claws, if your obedient voice has not become a wild cry, a howl, You will reassure them. We warned you, they might declare. There is nothing else. No point, no meaning, no mystery at all. Just this frantic waiting to die. And yet, they tremble, mute, afraid you've returned without sweet elixir for unspeakable thirst, without a fluent dance or holy language to teach them, without a compass bearing to a forgotten border where no one crosses without weeping for the terrible beauty of galaxies and granite and bone. They tremble, hoping your lips hold a secret, that the song your body now sings will redeem them. Yet they fear your secret is dangerous, shattering, and once it flies from your astonished mouth, they, like you, must disintegrate before unfolding tremulous wings.
The once upon a time path takes unexpected twists and turns into a world of wonder. Sometimes, even picking up a jug of milk at the corner store can be epic. The journey from birth to death or generation to generation, unfathomable. The road is unpredictable. Where we expect evil, we'll find the sacred. Where we expect to slay monsters, we slay ourselves. Where we expect to travel outward, we will come to the center of our own existence. And when we think we are most alone, we shall be with all the world. Some will tell you that there is nothing out there. No point, no meaning, no mystery at all, just this frantic waiting to die. That's our journey. They are mistaken, my best beloveds. Every day the quest rears up before you. Every day you have an opportunity to seek the treasure, the sweet elixir for unspeakable thirst, a fluid dance or holy language, a compass bearing to a forgotten border where no one crosses without weeping for the terrible beauty of galaxies and granite and bone. This is the once upon a time truth. Once you have ventured out of tiny, confined comfort, the moment you passed through the front door and dared to bid farewell to the flowering garden, and finally latched the gate behind you, once you have set out on an adventure to seek your fortune, once in hushed tones you do something you've never done before, once you begin to inhabit your own fleeting life, taste your own possibility, well, then you've already gone too far. You've gone too far. There is no turning back. From that moment of departure, and this moment of departure, and this moment, once you have set out on your quest, you will never stop. Some part of your soul singing of dangerous, shattering, transformative redemption. Let's join in singing. Everything is possible.
We have cleared off the table, the leftovers saved, washed the dishes and put them away. I have told you a story and tucked you in tight at the end of your knockabout day. As the moon sets its sails to carry you to sleep, over the midnight sea. I will sing you a song no one sang to me. May it keep you good company. You can be anybody you want to be. You can love whomever you will. You can travel any country where your heart leads, and know I will love you still. You can live by yourself. You can gather friends around. You can choose one special one. And the only measure of your words and your deeds will be the love you leave behind when you're gone. There are girls who grow up strong and bold. There are boys quiet and kind. Some race on ahead, some follow behind, some go in their own way and time. Some women love women, some men love men, some raise children, some never do. You can dream all the day, never reaching the end of everything possible for you. Don't be rattled by names, by taunts, by games, but seek out spirits true. If you give your friends the best part of yourself, they will give the same back to you. Choose one special one, and the only measure of your words and your deeds is the love you leave behind when you're gone. Is the love you leave behind when you're done.
As we extinguish the flame of this chalice, may we carry its light with us into the world, in the power of peace, faith, justice, and love.
We are on a journey. We didn't plan it. We may find ourselves in a wilderness, hungry, thirsty, doubting that we should have ever come. But hold this deep in your heart. You are not alone. We are on a journey together, a journey of transformation, a journey to our better selves, a journey to a better world, a journey toward a truly beloved community. On the journey, remember 3 things. Remember you are blessed. Remember you are a blessing. And above all else, remember, you are not alone. You are never alone. So be it. Blessed be. And let the church say, Amen.